Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Namaste, hello everyone. My name is Smriti. I welcome you all to this live session for the course Role of Craft and Technology in Interior Architecture, and I welcome your queries and discourses on the modules that I have been conducting. So while the queries flow in, I really hope that you enjoyed the content and it could give you some directions for possible avenues related to building crafts, interior architecture. There are some generic questions related to the question paper. I'll address to them. And I'm still waiting for some specific queries if anybody amongst you needs to ask or get clarification on. Ushank says hello. Hello. Would you like to ask something, Mr. Dwivedi? So Riddhi Arora had asked, will the exam be theory based, objective question type, or both? So the exam will be online. It will have all the questions as objective and it will have choices, but the questions will be based on understanding from all the modules that have been conducted. So they would be comprehension based. You would have to really think and comprehend different kinds of topics that were discussed. But yes, they won't be theoretical, they won't be subjective, they will be only objective type questions. And they will be largely based on your assignments, the recall, and the understanding of the concepts that emerged during the discussions while those modules were conducted. So all the best for that. If anybody has a specific query, you could discuss this right now. Take the advantage of the live session. Another question has come from Tanya Kansal. She is an architect and she's asking, is it important to be affiliated to one of the institutions while doing research and documentation of building crafts? Or one could do it on their own? If I do it myself, will it be recognized? Okay, that's an important question, Tanya. Now the thing is, see, craft is a very, very sensitive field, and there are lots of individuals who have been doing research on field painstakingly, individually, alone for years. So, like, an individual can really contribute in this magnanimous field, and slowly there are connections that get formed. So, of course, it's not, it's not compulsory that you have to be a part of an institution, but yeah, if you get those connections, if you become associated with an institution and organization, sometimes it helps you with the resources, with the stakeholders, with the kind of support and infrastructure that you need. But I'm very sure that as an individual, whatever efforts you have taken or the ones that you would uh, take further, this will be a very good contribution and people will recognize it. You have to just think about ways to disseminate it and connect to the right people. And like if you would just want to contribute to our course in any manner or any research focusing on building crafts, I welcome you to join hands with me and we can take small initiatives and see how things happen. You can write to me further, in an elaborate manner. What is the kind of research that you're planning? What is your specific area of interest? What kind of craft? What kind of area that you want to focus on? And we can definitely work something together. Somebody called Neeta Watke, who is a faculty, has also written that they need some guidance for the exam. So the query is not very specific. If you ask me now or later, if you want to write it to me, I'll be able to help you. What kind of guidance do you require? So just let me know. We are still live and I'm waiting for your questions, if any. You could just send them to me right over here in the chat box and I'll be able to reply. So I'm repeating, the exam will be online. You just require your hall ticket and a pen, and it's online and everything you will get at the exam center itself. So not many queries are coming in. I'm happy. I'm assuming that everything is very clear to everyone and there are not very many questions that are troubling you. Okay, let me write some messages then for all of you. So while we wait for queries, I hope you understood what is the gist of the course. We were trying to find out interrelationships between craft, interior architecture, and we were specifically focusing on building crafts or the space making crafts or the architectural crafts. And we were trying to understand what is the role of craft and technology in interior architecture. As told by many of you who have given me feedback and messages and mails, it is a unique course because it tries to combine very transdisciplinary inputs from different fields, and I hope lots of you have found some interest areas and you would want to contribute and pursue this kind of research and profession later. And if somebody has any specific query related to career avenues, the kinds of projects that you could be a part of, and how could you join me in this endeavor and an initiative of documenting the building crafts in Uttarakhand, I really welcome all your inputs, contributions, everything. Hello, Vasudha. Vasudha is asking, uh, can she do this course next year? And what is the scope? So, yeah, sure, Vasudha, you could do this course next year. As has been told to me, it will run next year as well. And like I was explaining, that it is a very unique and a transdisciplinary course which focuses on architectural crafts or building crafts and interior architecture. So during this course, I have tried to explain what is interior architecture, why did this discipline emerge, and how is it different from the previously existing related areas of studies like interior design, and how craft and technology falls under this entire umbrella of interior architecture, and what is the significance and important role of it. How do building craft skills, communities contribute in the creation of space, and how you could give a very unique vocabulary to build form, incorporating these skills and building crafts. So we have tried to understand during this 8 week the overview of craft sector in India, also globally, what is the scenario, what kind of classification, is there when we talk about craft, and what are these different skill sets and different materials that one could focus on, and how they have contributed in creating a build form at a surface level in terms of finish or decoration, or in terms of its structure, whether be it foundation, plinth, wall, column, arches, whatever structural implication of the design is. And the third category was furniture or objects. So we have just tried to decode a build form into number of space making elements, and then we try to understand how different building crafts and the skills of making could be incorporated to develop or construct or make those each elements of space, and then create this entire build form. So I hope you find it very interesting, and I'll be really happy to have you on board next time. Meanwhile, if you have any further queries, you could anytime write an email to us, and I'll get back to you. I hope I have answered you. If you want to further ask anything related to the course, please feel free. A few of you had also written asking about the assignments. So Vasudha says, well explained. Thank you, Vasudha. I hope I could be of any help. So getting back to the assignments, yeah, few of you for unforeseen reasons had missed out on some assignments. That's okay. So out of the 8, we will be counting the 6 best. I hope you have kept that in mind, and even if you have missed 1 or 2, that should be okay. Your best performances will count, and 6 out of 8 will be considered for the final scoring. I really hope that you score very well in this course, and I'm able to see lots of good certificates and scores from the participants who will appear for the exam. A few of you who want to know further about the scope of this course, we also discussed some emerging terminologies and important concepts like creative and cultural industries, and we were trying to understand how interior architecture, visual art, craft design, they fall under this overarching field or term called creative and cultural industries. It was coined by UNESCO, and we tried to understand the subject matter and content during this course in light of this term or the concept, and what does it mean, and how the crafts which were usually seen just as mundane day-to-day activities to cater the human needs could also be understood in terms of uh, their economic value, how they really contribute to the GDP of a nation, and how they are a very important part of trade and commerce. So we were trying to understand that building craft is not just something which is aesthetic or decorative, but it has a lot of economic value attached to it. We saw some case studies from US, UK, and other places, and we tried to understand what is the economic significance. So we are still waiting for some more queries. Okay, how to differentiate between structure integrated and surface integrated crafts? All right, it is a bit tough to explain here without any, drawing or sketches. But if you refer to the lectures or the modules that I conducted, let me try to explain in the best possible way. So, we were discussing the role of crafts at three major levels, as I told. So, structurally, at a surface level, and at an object level. So, while we talk about structure integrated, we see that it is integrated within the structure. So, if I talk about a door jamb, so it is not just a frame which is something decorative, but it has structural implication. It carries the load of that space making element called door. And while we are talking about surface integrated craft, it is more to do with a craft which is integrated at a surface level. So if I'm talking about say some partition which has the material ringal with which that is made, and that partition is not just visually helping me, but it is also a structural division between space, that I would say that it is still on surface, it is a cladding, but it is helping me structurally. So that's a surface integrated craft. It contributes to the space, but the major role or the play or the application of material is at a surface level, and it is integrated within that surface. It becomes a part of that surface. It is not something which is like a superficial add-on, but the surface itself is woven or made out of it. So that way it may not carry the load, but it has a lot of important role as far as the space making is concerned. So but yeah, if you refer in detail to the modules where I have talked about it, you would see lots of drawings and elements from Uttarakhand and other states where these different categories or classifications are discussed elaborately. And if there is still any confusion, you could please ask further. The questions will be only objective type. Yes, Vivek. So Vivek is asking about the questions, and like I told, the exam will be objective question types based, and it will definitely have some role of your recall and how you performed in the assignments and what is your understanding of the different concepts that were discussed. But yes, it won't be subjective. There will be only objective type questions. Hello Roshni, how does a city benefit by being designated as a creative city? Okay, that's interesting question. So we discussed about this creative cities network and how there are 116 cities in the entire world which are a part of this network. And in India there are right now only two cities, Jaipur and Varanasi, which have been designated as creative city as recognized by UNESCO. So, for example, if a city like Almora, which is in the Kumaon region of Uttarakhand, gets this designation of creative city, owing to its cultural and creative industries and rich folk arts and crafts and music, then of course there's a lot of visibility. There are lots of policies that benefit that creative city. It becomes a sort of a priority area. and there are lots of individuals who have been doing work in that city, and after the city gets this creative city designation, uh, it becomes even more significant, it becomes visible, it becomes transparent that such and such work is happening and why that city is so important and how to bring it on a world map. So there is lots of attention, lots of infrastructure, lots of significance, and there are lots of you know goals that UNESCO has set up, and once the city is recognized as creative city, there are contributions from everywhere to bring it into the mainstream and get recognition for the craft persons and stakeholders who are working at ground level to improvise the value chain which is involved in that particular city, as far as the identified craft or art or the creative culture industry is recognized, owing to which it has been given this designation. So that value chain is recognized, that gets improvised. There is lots of improvement in terms of commerce and livelihood, sustainable livelihood. So that way it really benefits. And yeah, we are all striving very hard to include more cities from India in this network. And if you are interested in any particular city, you would want to work for it, please get in touch. We can discuss further. If any of you are not yet satisfied with my answer, you could further ask it. I shall elaborate again on it. We can discuss as much as you want till the time it is clear. I don't want anybody to have any doubts. Thank you, Roshni. I hope I responded to your query. Okay, till the time other queries come in, let's just discuss few things. And so, see, during this entire course, I have tried to focus on tradition and continuity. So, the part continuity is very important. We are not here to be very nostalgic about past and just romanticize about it. So, the focus has always been what is the continuity part, what is the significance and importance of these craft forms in contemporary times, how do we really look at these in terms of sustainable livelihoods, how do we talk about craft and technology, especially building crafts in the contemporary context, and of course learning from the past, because whenever we talk about craft, there is a very, very profound role of empirical knowledge which has come from generations and it has been passed on. So we have to talk about the revival, we have to talk about the continuity, and any of you who is interested in this kind of research or any project, I would really welcome you to join hands and we could take initiatives. Hello Tanya. Thank you. I hope I responded to your query. So as an individual, you can really contribute a lot, but people like me would really welcome you to join us and take some joint initiatives where we can contribute together. So continuing about the previous point that I was making about revival, tradition and continuity, there are two specific modules where I have talked about the transformation of material through time and technology, and how a certain material, a building craft, a skill of making it has transformed or evolved over a period of time. Of course, while having lectures, I also told that few people call it dilution and not really evolution. That's debatable. But of course, with changing time and changing needs, there will be certain changes in a material or skill sets, or the kind of outcomes we generate from that skill. Okay, I have a question from Jay Shankari. I hope I'm pronouncing the names correct. Where is the City Palace, in Udaipur or in Jaipur? Okay, so City Palace is there in both the cities, Jaipur as well as Udaipur. In the module, somewhere specifically, I have discussed Jaipur, but most prominently, I have discussed the case study of City Palace Udaipur, where we were specifically talking about the mirror craft or the craft of Meenakari, and how the mirror craft happens. We also discussed the example of one prototype which is contemporary. It was a table, and how from step 1 to step last that mirror craft happens. So yeah, we were specifically talking about Udaipur most of the times, but it's there in both the places. And both are very prominent examples of building crafts and role of craft and technology in interior architecture. Equally famous, lots of tourists, historians, archaeologists, artists and architects, and general public who is interested in visiting, they go there very regularly. Okay, till the time the queries flow in, I hope you really found the intervention part very interesting, where we were trying to talk about certain interventions, and there were like 5 broad categories that we could really identify and talk about within a very limited time period that we had. Please explain co-creation more from lecture 36. Okay, lecture 36, you're talking about the process-based intervention, I guess. I will have to refer to that, just give me a minute. Till the time I open it, if there are more queries, I'll take them. Co-creation. Could you let me know the specific slide that you're talking about? Hello Vivek, could you just tell me the specific slide that you're talking about? Because in the lecture 36, I'm talking mostly about co-creation through different models. So basically, all of them follow on the focus on the process of collaboration. Which one specifically are you referring to? Craft design collaboration. Am I talking to Ritu? Okay, you are using the name Vivek Verma as the handle. Okay. You're talking about the craft design collaboration, the one that I'm talking about, the craft design process. Okay, here I've just tried to explain how the craft persons and designers, as you know, two communities with different perspectives and different potential areas of knowledge and experience, they come together and they share their ideas, they share the resources, um, they work on a certain idea and contribute in their capacities, and they come together in a very collaborative manner to come up with uh, an interesting process or a sort of a product range which is innovative, which is for the contemporary market, and how this sharing of knowledge could lead to several interesting and new paradigms for crafts, be it building crafts or any other kind of object that is to be made. And while discussing these collaborative processes, I also tried to focus how this process should be balanced, how the collaboration should be balanced, and like the designer shouldn't really overpower the craft person. So we also discussed the Kala Raksha Vidyalaya, where Judy Frater was trying to explain that, um, there should be a certain role of the designer, but the entire spirit of the making or the craft or the skill that has been incorporated is primarily the craft person's. It's primarily their idea. It's them who have been doing it every day as part of their daily routine. So she suggested that rather than training the craft persons as per the current designs, why not train the designers and to make them learn the craft skills. So you're talking about two diagrams in a slide. The craft design collaboration process, co-creation proposed by Sanders and Stappers, is that the one you're talking about? I think that is the one which you are talking about. So if I refer to the diagram, it mentions there is a fuzzy front end where there are certain ideas and there is certain churning in your mind where there could be any kind of a concept, and those ideas and concept, they lead to certain kind of prototyping, certain kind of product that gets generated. And then there is a shared knowledge between artisan and designer with which these concepts from a fuzzy end could reach your prototype or a product in a very, very collaborative manner, with sharing of ideas and resources and knowledge. So this is the co-creation process which is proposed by researchers whom I have given credit along with that figure. And the another one which follows is about the design development. So again, there is just before the prototype or just getting a final product made, there is this entire process of design development where the artisans and the designers or the craft persons or the designers, they come together and they use certain tools like sketching, prototyping, and trying to create a mood board or presenting their ideas and then trying to connect the dots. And they develop this design which gives a solution to a problem which is identified. And it could be in terms of a final prototype, it could be in terms of an improvement in the process of making it, it could be also in terms of the technology. But ideally, it is the craft person slash artisans and the designers coming up together, co-creating in the sense sharing their knowledge and ideas, because each of them has a different USP. So a designer may be very much exposed to the market, the current demands, the current taste, or the kind of product or a prototype the market requires or the people want. And craft persons may be very well equipped with the skills, the knowledge of material, and they may also be exposed to material which is very good, but lots of them are still not so much exposed to material and technology. So when they both come together, there is this very unique and healthy and rich co-creation process which results in wonderful experiments. So there are lots of such experiments that we discuss during the modules. We also discuss the works of lots of designers. We discuss the Alaya Design Studio based in Dehradun, how they embrace this co-creation process. I also showed some case studies from Gujarat where we were doing this work with a community from Dholka. I was also a part of that, and how the shared knowledge and experiences and skills and ideas resulted in those partition screens and other storage prototypes that were evolved from this very fundamental craft of wood turning and lacquer, which was otherwise being used only to make small accessories or utensils or some utilitarian product. So that itself is a very great example of co-creation if you refer to the wood turning and lacquer craft from Dholka that I discussed very elaborately. Have I been able to answer to your query? Is there anything else that you would want to ask, or should I clarify something more? So the community of artisans and craftspersons, because they have lived with nature, they have known materials as the tip of their hands. They are very much informed about the surroundings. They know the material very well. They know the properties very well. And if certain ideas for the contemporary needs are generated by the designer, the craft persons could be very cooperative in letting us know whether that certain idea is possible with that material or not, what kind of making is required to reach that prototype, and designer at the same time may be able to contribute in terms of unique joinery or some kind of an experimental innovation or some kind of a current evolving trend that is happening, through which the designer could expose the craft person to, and both of them can come together and contribute equally. So that's what co-creation really is all about. Ritu had also asked about the exam questions, and I had responded that it will be objective type questions only, and mostly based on your recall, understanding, and the assignments which were given. Okay, so Roshni is asking, in your experience of working in this field, how open are the community of craftspersons to design interventions? That is a very good question, Roshni, and very challenging part of these interventions. So just few minutes ago I was talking to Ritu and I was telling her about this specific case study from Dholka, which I have explained in one of the modules, where I was working with the center DICRC at CEPT University in Ahmedabad. So of course initially it may be very challenging because a designer may seem like somebody who is imposing their ideas on the community, and also the designers have to be very sensitive. I mean, designers have degrees and they are studying in a certain institution, but that doesn't mean that the knowledge that the craft persons community has is not worth it or not valuable. So there are different ways in which the designers should or must approach the community. There has to be a lots of effort in creating the initial rapport, in building that trust. There has to be a very genuine effort that you would want to learn from the community, and you would want to share your ideas and contribute your knowledge. It shouldn't be overpowering, it shouldn't be imposing. So yes, lots of communities of craftspersons are not open to interventions if they are not if they're not handled in a sensitive way, if they are not explained what are the intentions behind those interventions. Also, just a one time discussion or just a one time intervention wouldn't help. It cannot happen overnight in any case. You have to keep going back to that community, you have to build the rapport with them, you have to spend time with them, you have to let them understand that you are one of them, you want to learn from them. And so experiment wouldn't happen in just a day or 2 day or a 3 day workshop. There are lots of meetings that happen, there are lots of discussions that need to happen. There is a certain body language which has to tell that the designer is genuine and there is a genuine concern for the revival of craft and for the intervention. So, yeah, there could be a training aspect just to deal with this itself. How do the designers really build rapport with the community? So this particular community in Dholka and the craft person Anil Bhai, with whom we worked in Dholka while working on the wood turning craft, I'm still in touch with him. We discuss our designs. We wish each other birthday. There is a genuine warmth. You have to really work towards achieving that kind of confidence and bonding. So I'm not sure if I could really answer you that well, but yeah, you will have to experience it for yourself. You will have to devote that much time. You will have to be very genuine in your concerns and efforts, and I'm sure they would slowly open up and the results will also show. So that's important part. I hope I answered you well, Roshni. Is there any community that you have in mind with whom you would like to work? Please share with me sometimes if you feel like. So I'm writing to all of you. Thank you for your wonderful queries. I'm really enjoying your feedback. I wish I had more time to discuss interventions. I think that could be one course, one a separate course in itself. We had a limited time, and I just discussed the overview of varied kinds of interventions that are possible. So yeah, probably that needs more attention, and we could have another course in future, which talks in details just about these kinds of interventions that we identified. In fact, each week that this course has a potential of a full-fledged course in itself, but because a course like this has never been there online, I was just trying to give a rigorous overview, collating all my experiences working at Roorkee, in Ahmedabad, with colleagues at the ICRC, and otherwise from experiences from field trips. So I just tried to collate everything and just make it accessible to lots of people who have been trying to bridge this gap and trying to understand the interrelationship between interior architecture and craft and technology. So that's why I keep saying that I'm open to join hands, and lots of you, I'm sure, would have very good, wonderful ideas, and if you share with me, and we can definitely find out ways to collaborate. So I'm waiting for the queries. Meanwhile, I would just like to reiterate that there are many case studies that I have tried to put in this course from across the world, and they are a very good starting point to really understand this role of craft and technology in interior architecture. And they have been again put like an overview. If any of you have any particular questions or need any directions to work on work on those particular areas in those specific regions, you could contact me and I could discuss the details. And the more you travel, the more you see on the field, the more you interact with the communities and the people who have these skills and who are involved in the making, the more you will learn about the actual process and how to really get a product or a prototype, or to really understand, what properties the materials have and how do they really um, respond to these skills, and how do you really make things out of them. So for that, the field visits are important. Working on ground is very important. So till the time the questions come, there was also this week 5 which I found very interesting personally, and I had a very good time discussing it with all of you. There we were talking about decoding systems, craft and technology in interior architecture, decoding systems, and I hope you liked those modules in week 5. And we were trying to really understand how to decode a built form in terms of space making elements, in terms of techniques of making, in terms of deriving proportions and systems of making, referring from our very traditional methods, referring to Greeks and the orders and the Vastu Vidya and lots of other principles and theories. We talked about Mansar. So I found it very interesting, and I hope that you liked it. Roshni says, when you presented your work, it looked very simple, but it looks like there is great effort that has gone into all the work. Hats off to you. Thank you so much, Roshni. I am very grateful to you that you acknowledge the effort which has gone behind it. And yes, I would really admit that at the just by looking at those slides, they look very simple, but it took me a really long time to compile all of them and put in all the effort in collating the experiences learned from different sources and working with great people, different individuals whom I would really like to thank, who have contributed in creation of this course. Thank you so much. In fact, I would be really happy if this course materializes in terms of, giving lots of you opportunities to work in these kinds of areas where you have such passion and, so much interest. So please feel free to keep writing to me, and I can connect you to relevant people, and we can surely see where we can collaborate. There are lots of documentaries and videos which you will find very, um, enjoyable and very interesting. You could have a look at those. Due to the limitation of time, I haven't been able to put lots of them as links during the lectures that I conducted. But there are lots of different documentaries and small videos which talk about the craft and technology and interior architecture and different communities, their skills, documentation on field. So you could just have a look at those. And also there is a very elaborate bibliography, the kinds of resources that one could refer to, which I have attached with this NPTEL course overview on the website. Please have a look at that. I would like to associate with you for works. Please keep in touch, ma'am. Thanks with regards, Architect Ritu Verma. Sure, Ritu ma'am, we will definitely work together. I'm very happy for your continuous queries, and there were some technical issues in between where you had few problems initially. I hope they were not much of a problem and they could be solved in time. And most definitely, we can talk. You can email me or call me, and we can discuss ideas. There is a lots to do. There is really a lots to do in this field, and it's just a beginning. Another person who has been regularly in touch with me is Tanya, and I'm sure we will also discuss few ideas. And there are lots of other workshops and small courses, including the MHRD Gyan course that faculty members conduct here. I have been doing it, and you could be a part of those events as well. Somewhere, of course, because my inclination is towards material culture and building crafts and interior architecture. Most of these workshops and most of these events that I organize or I collaborate for are based on these areas. So you are also welcome to join, those kinds of workshops and events, and it would be a sort of an extension to what I'm discussing during this course. And of course, I'll be very happy to meet many people during the next year for this NPTEL course also. Please read the questions very carefully in the exam, and just do them with lots of attention. Jai Shankari is asking, is that possible to understand each and every craft by documentations and surveys? I think that every single craft is unique in its own manner. Yeah, you are absolutely right. They are very unique, and there are several craft forms. Lots of them are not even talked about. They are not recognized as much as the others. So, in fact, it is a humongous exercise in itself to identify the crafts, enlist them, talk about them, and there are lots of enlisting and the making of directories. All of this is happening by lots of organizations and individuals. So UNESCO, Craft Council of India, and national and international organizations. It's a humongous task, and of course, it's not possible to study all of them. So I have also given an overview, but like I am more inclined towards stone and wood as materials and the kinds of crafts that are associated with those materials. So it's very tough that an individual would know about all sorts of crafts. It's humanly not possible. But yes, just to identify, the certain crafts exist, they have potential, and then there are lots of communities who have been working on them, and they are a part of our um, heritage, tangible heritage and intangible heritage, and just to talk about their existence and trying to see how to revive them, and with different people being involved in different capacities. So that I think is a part of the game. Like slowly the people meet, they come together, and then they try to share their knowledge from different crafts that they have been documenting or working with. So that's the whole idea. But of course, you are right in that way that it's not possible to know about every single craft. Tanya says, "Thank you, ma'am. This course was a wonderful experience, learned a lot, and gave me a clear direction to wake thoughts. I would really like to collaborate with you." Yes, Tanya, as I mentioned, I would really like get back to you and we'll have a good discussion. I'm waiting for some very interesting ideas from young, excited people like you. I really welcome that. Then Meeta says, "Hi ma'am, do share details about workshop. I'm interested." Sure, you could just connect to me, and there are lots of notifications that happen on the IIT Roorkee website, and definitely we can, think about meeting, talking over phone, discussing, collaborating. And I'm like looking forward to have very interesting and experimental, innovative ideas from all the people who join this course, because I know there are so many wonderful ideas that each one of you has, and then it can really be worked out into something wonderful, whether it's a part of studio exercise or a project or another course which is an extension to this or a sequel to this. Lots of opportunities. Once again, I would like to wish you all the best for the exam, and I'm really hoping for some wonderful results. Thanks for the course. All lectures and case studies were really good, and it was really wonderful experience. I would like to collaborate with you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Meeta. And sure, I look forward to each one of you writing back to me and discussing further ideas. I'm very happy that all of you have received these lectures so well, and you have such constructive feedback to give me. So, thank you so much for all that. Okay, so if you have any further queries, please write to me. I would like to take your permission to announce this session closed now. We had a very wonderful session. Thank you, everyone. All the best for your exams, and I look forward to having further discussions. You have my email ID, and if you have further queries, please write to us. Thank you so much.